The process of redrawing electoral districts has a long and contentious tradition in the United States. Both major parties frequently employ this controversial tactic to secure more seats in Parliament. However, a recent court ruling appears poised to grant a significant advantage to the Republicans. Republicans in several southern U.S. states are moving quickly, attempting to enact new electoral district maps. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has announced that these changes could result in at least 12 and possibly even 20 additional parliamentary seats for Republicans. He projects that Texas alone could yield 5 extra Republican seats, with 4 more coming from Florida. Further gains are expected from other southern states. This push is seen as a major success for President Trump's party, which hopes to secure majorities more easily. In the United States, voters do not choose parties or party lists. Instead, a single candidate wins a district based on a majority vote. Consequently, both Democrats and Republicans eagerly use their power in individual states to reform electoral districts to their advantage. The strategy is simple. Areas where their own voters reside are often divided into as many small districts as possible. Conversely, regions that tend to vote for the opposition are either combined into very large districts or split and absorbed into districts where their vote will be a clear minority. This manipulation allows a party to win more parliamentary seats than its political opponents, even with a similar overall vote count. This practice of redrawing electoral boundaries has a long history in the United States. As far back as 1812, politician Elbridge Gerry deformed his Massachusetts electoral district so drastically that its outline on a map resembled a salamander. This is why the practice is still known today as gerrymandering. Traditionally, it has been most common when new demographic data provided a statistical reason and a political justification for redrawing maps. However, ahead of the upcoming midterm elections this autumn, an unscheduled arms race has erupted between the major parties. Given moderate poll numbers, President Donald Trump is urging his party colleagues in Texas, North Carolina, and Missouri to secure more parliamentary seats for Republicans. Democrats in California and Virginia are countering these potential losses with their own reform efforts. The latest battleground is Louisiana, where the primary elections for this autumn's parliamentary elections had already begun, only to be interrupted. Electoral districts are now set to be rewritten in the middle of the election process. This dramatic interruption is due to a Supreme Court ruling from last week. The Supreme Court has significantly raised the legal hurdle for drawing electoral districts along ethnic criteria, such as skin color, much to the satisfaction of President Trump. Originally, districts with a predominantly black electorate in the South were created as a tool to protect the parliamentary representation of minorities in the federal parliament. According to Rick Hasen, a professor of law and politics at the University of Los Angeles, this ruling effectively turns on its head a constitutional amendment from the post-Civil War era that was meant to protect black voters. Professor Hasen explains that a law designed to protect black voters is now being used to limit their influence in the next election. As a direct consequence of the ruling, black, often Democrat voting districts in Louisiana are now being merged or divided and added to other predominantly white electoral districts. Civil rights initiatives and the parliamentary opposition are preparing to file lawsuits against these measures. The actual parliamentary election in the United States is scheduled for November 3rd. However, crucial preliminary decisions are likely to be made well before then, not at the ballot box, but in courtrooms and state parliaments, largely to the advantage of the Republicans. What's your take on US gerrymandering, Court ruling fuels Republican power grab? Share your view in the comments. Do you think this will matter in the next news cycle? This video was generated using artificial intelligence.